The 49ers schedule is here, and you know what that means. It's time for Michelle and I to make another bet that's probably going to end up either costing me dignity or costing me money. We'll find out which on today's Gold Diggers. What is good, everybody? Welcome to the Gold Diggers podcast and the Gold Standard Podcast Network. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. She's Michelle Magdziuk. Happy Friday, Michelle.
Woo woo. We got the schedule. We have all the information we need. Like now at this point of the year, we are ready for the season. I mean, they might as well just start now, right? Why wait another 2 months?
I completely agree with you. Brock Purdy said yesterday he's already been throwing with Ricky Pearsall. Like, we're good. Start it up.
Let's go. No reason to wait. Their bodies are good. Let's go. Let's go. We have all of the players that are going to be on the team, like 99% of them. We know the schedule. They don't need a summer. They don't need a summer off. Come on.
Well, Dre Greenlaw does. I wouldn't like that for Dre Greenlaw, who last night at the Dwight Clark Legacy event, that's the same place where Brock Purdy was, Dre Greenlaw got the Dwight Clark Award and walked out on stage. No walking boot. No, nothing. 3 months after the surgery made me a very happy man.
These guys, man, it feels like ACL and Achilles surgeries now or tears are just like nothing to them. Now we'll see if they can get back to their athletic ability to be able to play in the NFL, right? That's a little different than walking, but it is crazy now how quickly they just get back to looking like normal humans again after devastating injuries.
It's wild. He said he's feeling good. He said it's a long, slow process. But, I mean, look, we're going to get into the schedule. We'll go through it game by game. But I got to imagine week 7 against the Chiefs. Clearly, Greenlaw is going to want to be back by then.
You would hope, right? But they might hold out through the bye because the bye is week 9. Maybe he doesn't come back till week 10.
That's exactly what I said with Levin when we did our instant reaction show. I think you could make the argument that that's the safe way to do it. Just give them the extra time. And the way the 49ers schedule sets up, all their hardest games are really in the back half of the schedule, pretty much all of them. So you want Greenlaw for those.
Yeah, that second half with the Packers, Bills, even the Bears could be tricky. The Rams, the Dolphins, the Lions. And then we'll see what the Cardinals are this year. I feel like when I see them on any schedule, I'm like, oh, easy peasy. But we have to remember now, Kyler Murray is a year removed from the injury. That offense could be really good with Marvin Harrison Jr. And I still think the defense is going to be utterly terrible, but maybe the offense can be good enough to, make some games exciting.
A lot of people are expecting Marvin Harrison Jr. to have like a massive impact right away. It feels like he always gets mentioned when people talk about the Cardinals. It's like, okay, but he's a rookie wide receiver. They usually don't have, incredible, like lifting up a franchise from mediocrity. Maybe he will. I don't know.
But there has been a rookie wide receiver to put up 1,400 receiving yards in 3 of the last 4 years.
Really?
That happened one time in NFL history up till 2020. And now it's happened 3 of the last 4 years of 1,400 yard. Now we've had the 17 games, so maybe that's why it's happening more often. But still, it's kind of crazy that they've done it in 3 of the last 4 years.
Okay, so Puka Nacua was last year?
Yeah.
The year before, see, this is terrible. It's just testing my memory. Can you give me a hint? Like a conference?
You should know these two. I mean, they're 2 of the best wide receivers in the league.
Yeah,
the best young wide receivers in the league.
They would have to be to put up those kind of numbers right away. But for some reason, is Amon-Ra St. Brown one of them?
No.
I don't know. All right.
Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. Come on.
For some reason, I felt like Jamar Chase. Wow. Okay. I don't know. I felt like they've been in the league longer than that.
No. Yeah.
That's why. All right. Let's dive into it, please. Schedule 2024. If you're watching on the stream, I have it up on the screen now. You can see it. Jets, week 1, Monday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers finally back. Ironically, the weird part about this game is that the player that hit Aaron Rodgers to injure his Achilles was Leonard Floyd, who is now on the 49ers. The player who hit Brock Purdy to blow up his elbow in the NFC Championship game is Hassan Reddick, who's now on the New York Jets. Something's going to give. One quarterback's not making it out of this game alive, Michelle.
That is kind of crazy that those two things lined up. I did not know that. So that's a fun little note from you there. I would hope both make it through. I can't believe they put Aaron Rodgers on prime time again in week 1. Why would you do that to him? Like, why would you do that to us? Because we're all just gonna be holding our breath. We don't want to see another game with a backup. At least it's what is it? Tyrod Taylor now?
Yeah,
Is
I
it
think it's
backup?
Tyrod Taylor.
But still, like, why risk it? Why put him in
Okay, that was weird. I heard a weird noise coming out of your mic. I hope that was just a one-off thing. You know, the NFL is sitting there talking about, oh, we want to get Aaron Rodgers. The people are desperate for Aaron Rodgers. No, they're not. They're really not. Not nationally. Obviously, in New York, I'm sure the Jet fans are because they got 12 snaps or 4 snaps, excuse me, last year. So clearly, I understand people in New York wanting it. The rest of the country is not dying, clamoring for Aaron Rodgers yet. I got to watch the Jets in prime time, like, what is it, 6, 7 times this year, whatever the hell it is.
And I'm sorry, but nobody is clamoring for two of the best defenses to play each other in week 1 on Monday Night Football. We want to see offense. I'm
True.
sorry. We want to see offense. It did not need to be the Monday night game. And I don't want, like, oh man, Brock Purdy having to go up against the Jets in week 1. Like, that's going to be a hard matchup.
Yes,
Sure.
and Aaron Rodgers hasn't lost on Monday Night Football in a decade. There's that. He's 6-3 against the 49ers in the regular season in his career. Now, I know he's 0-4 in the playoffs, but this is a regular season game. Do you have this game down as a win or a loss for the 49ers, Michelle?
It's a home game. I have it down as a win. I actually, warning, I have them not losing a game for a pretty long time.
Oh, boy. All right, I'm going to write this down. This is what we're going to do. We're going to make our bet, as we always do in the beginning of the year. I feel like you've had more luck than I have with you. I think the past 2 years, our records have been the same, but you got more of the individual games right than I
Yeah,
got.
and that's the harder thing to do, so I'm just better, you know?
Uh-huh. That's how we're starting the show today. Okay. I'm going to have this game down as a loss for the 49ers. Aaron Rodgers is really good. He's going to be healthy for this game. Last time I saw Aaron Rodgers against the 49ers, he went right down the field in 20 seconds and stole victory from the jaws of defeat. I'm going to have this as a loss for the 49ers. It's close, but I think they can play man coverage against San Francisco, and I think that's going to slow down the offense just enough. So I'll go loss in week 1.
So I will say, like, the Jets made a lot of changes on the offensive line to try to get better because they were so bad last year. But you think they're going to be like meshed in week 1? Probably not. You have Aaron Rodgers coming off an Achilles. He's not going to be able to run around. He's going to be scared, to get hit because it's been so long, too. You think that defensive line is not going to eat up that Jets offensive line and Aaron Rodgers? I think it will.
I hope you're right.
And the last time we saw Rodgers play with the Packers, he was so bad under pressure. Like, you put pressure on him and he was straight up garbage. So I expect the Jets offense to struggle in this game. And maybe the 49ers don't put up 30 points because the Jets defense is really good. But I do see this as like a 20 to like 12 win or something.
It's a huge test for the 49ers in a lot of ways. A lot of people said, sure, your offense put up a lot of points, but against the really good defenses, you got slowed down. You got slowed down against Baltimore. You got slowed down against the Browns. You got slowed down in the Super Bowl, obviously. So this is a really good
defense. To face the 49ers have to face 5 of the top 10 pass defenses from 2023. Not great.
Let's see it, Brock. All right, so I have it as a loss. You have it as a win. Week 2, they travel to Minnesota. They haven't won in Minnesota since the early 90s, Michelle. Do you care about that at all?
No, I don't. I'm not worried about JJ McCarthy in the second ever NFL game or Sam Darnold. That would even be better.
Yes.
Either one, I'm not worried about at all. Their defense was better than expected last year, but still nothing scary. We've seen it, right? Justin Jefferson can go off for 150 yards. We've seen these wide receivers go off on the 49ers, and the 49ers still destroy those teams. So, yeah, I'm fine. Like, Justin Jefferson can go off. That will probably happen. They don't have to worry about Hawkinson. He won't be back at that time. Yeah, this is an easy win for me.
I agree. I don't care that they haven't won since the 90s. It's not like they've been playing in Minnesota every year since.
This is like a 30-3 game to me, like a blowout.
Right. And, you don't have Kirk Cousins anymore. I'm sorry. Let me just say this way. The way the 49ers schedule stacks up, you'd better win this game. You had better not drop this game. So I will take the 49ers to win that. So we both have them at 1-1. after 2 weeks. Week 3 on the road again, on the road in
Wait,
quotes.
1-1. I have them 2-0.
You have them 2-0. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Week 3 is a quote unquote road game against the Los Angeles Rams. Early division test. A lot of people, I included, think that the Rams are the biggest challengers in the NFC West for the 49ers. So it's going to be an important game, and it's early in the year.
Yeah, I think they lost Aaron Donald. They lost Raheem Morris. They added some pieces into the secondary. Like, I like the Darius Williams signing, but like Tre'Davious White, he's what, over the last 3 years, he's torn his Achilles and his ACL. I'm pretty sure both of those. Like, and he's getting older. Like, I don't expect him to be ready to go in this game. They over exceeded. Oh my God, what am I trying to say? Exceeded just exceeded expectations. I need to take out the over. They exceeded expectations last year, but yeah, they'll like be pushing for the playoffs. I don't expect them to be like some amazing team. The offense is young and exciting with Puka and Kyron Williams, but this is a win for me again with the 49ers.
The Rams are good. If they had Aaron Donald, I'd be more worried, but
yeah.
I mean, they have a good offense. Okay. But they've had a good offense against the 49ers in other years too. And the Niners generally seem to get it done. Now, the Rams have bulked up a lot this offseason. I feel like, especially on the offensive line, they are trying to build a team that is not going to get punked like they usually do physically by the 49ers. Let's see it when it actually happens. I got to see it happen before I believe it. So I'll go W for the 49ers as well in week 3. Week 4 takes us to New England. Possibly against Drake. Well, not to New England, against New England. Possibly against Drake May, Michelle. I have that as a W.
Yeah. Poor Drake May. Even if maybe they don't let him start right away. Maybe it's Jacoby Brissett. But like he's in a terrible, terrible situation. When you're wide receiver 1, it might be KJ Osborne. Or Kendrick Bourne coming off an ACL tear. Like, this guy is put in a no-win situation. That's why I didn't think they should take a quarterback this year. I thought they should have like built around the quarterback first and then take a quarterback because you're going to destroy his career. But yeah, this is a blowout win for the 49ers.
It could potentially be against Jacoby Brissett. That's possible that maybe Drake May is not starting. But even then, I mean, Jacoby Brissett, he's a fine backup, but he's not keeping anybody awake at night.
And he never wins games.
There's that too. Alex Smith said at that charity event last night, because it was actually really cool. So they had Brock Purdy, Alex Smith, Steve Young, and Jeff Garcia all on stage together at the same time. And Alex Smith gave a long answer talking about the pressure he felt as the number 1 pick in the draft. He was 20 years old when he was a rookie. You know, he felt like he had to be perfect because of the whole Montana Young legacy. Even Jeff Garcia had set the franchise record for passing yards. And Alex Smith said like he felt that in a big way for a long time, not even just his rookie year, beyond that. And Drake May, you know, you got the shadow of Tom Brady hanging over you. Hell, even Mac Jones made the playoffs as a rookie. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he feels a little pressure too. That all around, that's not a good situation. I agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't make the situation any better from Mac Jones to Drake May with what they're giving him. Like, at least the Bears learned, right? Like, you put Justin Fields in a terrible situation, and then you're like, okay, with this next quarterback, we are giving him everything and anything, like loaded with weapons. Now, like, that's what the Patriots should have been focused on doing. Instead, they, for whatever reason, chased Calvin Ridley to no end. And then once they didn't get him, they were like, well, that was our only go-to. That's it. That's all we had.
But at least he doesn't have Joe Judge and Matt Patricia calling the offense for him.
True.
You know, the fact that Belichick is not there too. Like, as a rookie, I would be scared playing for Bill Belichick. Like, he's a scary dude, man. So I think maybe that'll be at least a little better for a young quarterback that you don't have. I mean, literally, Bill Belichick's nickname when he was on the Giants was Doom. That's what it's like to play for him and add him as a coach. So maybe it'll be better for Drake May.
Yeah, maybe. But the Patriots still will win 4 games this year, max.
Yeah.
And one of them better not be against the 49ers.
No, the 49ers are not. Hell no, you can't lose that game. Week 5 is another home game for San Francisco. This is the first matchup against Arizona. I have this as a win, frankly. Arizona's going to be better. I don't think they're a train wreck, but they're not on the 49ers level.
Again, I'm excited to see this offense for sure. I think they can put up points, but their defense, they really didn't do anything to fix it. I mean, I know they drafted a defensive lineman in the first round, and Darius Robinson. They've signed so many random defensive tackles that like they're trying to fix up their defensive line, but still they haven't done enough. Their secondary is still going to be terrible. The 49ers should have zero issue putting up 30 points against them, and then just don't allow Kyler Murray and that offense to put up 30 points. So I do expect this to be a higher scoring game, but yeah, the 49ers have it. So I have them 5-0.
Jason watching on YouTube says, I love when Michelle calls people and teams garbage. It's her go-to, and I'm down with it.
There's a lot of garbage teams in the NFL right now.
Hey, call it like it is. Let's be honest. All right, so we really have a ton of disagreement. We only disagree in week 1 so far. Week 6, Thursday night football.
Well, we're getting into a lot better matchups here soon, so I think we'll have some disagreements.
Yes. Week 6, Thursday night football. Seems like it's an annual tradition, Michelle. Thursday night football in Seattle. No Pete Carroll, obviously. Mike McDonald is in there. Geno Smith is still there. What kind of a game do you expect from the Seahawks?
Honestly, as long as Geno Smith is still there, I'm never going to pick them to win a game against the 49ers.
Yes.
It doesn't mean it can't happen, but as long as he's the starting quarterback, I'm going to be picking the 49ers to beat them. I'm sorry. What's kind of nice about this setup, though, is that they play them on Thursday, so it's like a mini bye before the Chiefs Cowboys. That's kind of nice for them.
Yes, I don't know. I don't like Thursday night games, especially Thursday night division games. Those are always a little scary. Brock Purdy has never lost a division game, and the Seahawks have never beaten the 49ers without Russell Wilson. Since Russell Wilson left, they haven't won, including playoffs. So I'm totally down with what you said. Who's your quarterback? Oh, it's Geno? Great. Come on down. That's a win. Sorry, 12s. 49ers are going to win. And that's the first 6 weeks of the season. So I have them at 5-1. You have them at 6-0, steamrolling into the Super Bowl rematch, week 7 at home against Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Taylor Swift.
Yeah. I think this is probably where they lose their first game. Now, at least it's home. But I mean, the 4 games that Patrick Mahomes has played against the 49ers, I mean, 3 of them, they've won by over 10 points. The 2 regular season games, especially the last one, was a complete and total blowout. Now, Jimmy was still the quarterback then. So, it's Brock Purdy only played the 1 game in this matchup. Yeah, against Patrick Mahomes. And that was the closest one, right? They bring him to overtime in the Super Bowl, and they really should have won that game. But I also think the Chiefs were at their lowest last. Like they were never they were so mediocre. I don't get it. And they still won the Super Bowl and they still beat the 49ers. I do expect them to be better on offense this year. I'm going to give the 49ers a loss. And I think that's okay. It's an AFC team. I know we're all going to really want them to shove it to the Chiefs, but this is a good game to lose, honestly.
Andre says, take Kansas City and Mahomes all day. Kyle's Niners have never beat Mahomes and Andy together. They have our number, and Mahomes sadly owns us. That's the truth. We were talking, I forget on what show I was talking about like the greatest 49ers rival right now. And Jason Aponte always says this when the conversation comes up. It's not a rivalry if you never win, right? Like the whole Seahawks Niners back in the day. That wasn't a rivalry. They kicked our ass every time. Like, no, it wasn't. Just like Niners-Rams now is not a rivalry because the Niners beat them down all the time. Niners-Eagles is a rivalry because the Eagles won the NFC Championship game. The Niners came back last year and won. That's a rivalry. This is not a rivalry. Kansas City owns the 49ers. I know San Francisco is going to be jacked up for it, but I think the Chiefs will be too.
The Chiefs really don't have a rival. Like they just don't because they beat everyone. Their closest one would be the Bills in the regular season because they do. Like the Bills have beat them many times in the regular season, but if you can't beat them in the postseason, how much is it really a rival? Like what? Yeah.
I would say Cincinnati. Burrow's pretty good against Mahomes.
Yeah.
They beat them in the AFC Championship game. So I would say maybe them, but the Chiefs have had so much success. Yeah, I agree. But I think that until the Chiefs lose to the 49ers, like I said earlier, until it happens, I'm not picking it to happen. So I gotta take a loss for the 49ers in week 7 against Kansas City, which we both have. So that's the first loss you have for the Niners so far in 2024. Week 8, next week, Sunday night football, quite possibly the perfect remedy for the 49ers after they're licking their wounds due to Kansas City. The Dallas Cowboys roll into town for the second primetime game of the year, Michelle. Is it going to go like the primetime game last year against the Cowboys at Levi's?
So we just talked about the Chiefs always beat up on the 49ers. So like we have to say the Chiefs are going to win that game. The 49ers always beat up on the Cowboys. Like I'm not worried about it. The 49ers will get this win. They destroyed them in no, it was at home, right?
He was in Levi's because I was there.
Okay, yeah. I don't know why I always picture you at the Dallas Stadium when you were there. I don't know why. But yeah, I'm not worried about it. They got it. The Cowboys did nothing to improve this year. If anything, they got worse.
Yes.
So the Cowboys will be a playoff team because they're in the NFC. They will compete to win their division, but they're not a Super Bowl contender, and I'm not worried about the 49ers having to play them.
And Dether Rock. I don't know how you say this person's name. ND Ether Rock says listening from the drive-thru for Mimosa Michelle. Why is everybody listening for Michelle? I'm here like 4 out of the 5 days of the week, and everybody
Yeah, they're sick of you. They get you all the time. They only give you once a week, so they get excited.
Like, oh, Michelle's here. Yeah, great. B Mills, Fridays with MVP Michelle. Yay. Great. Thanks for the support, you jerks.
Somebody say something nice to Stats before he cries.
Cowboys game, as Andre says in the chat, Zeke's going to run for 9 yards. Yeah, they got Ezekiel Elliott's back, Michelle. Oh, no. The bones of Ezekiel Elliott are going to take out San Francisco. Dallas is a joke. They are a joke. They are not trying to win a Super Bowl. A Super Bowl for the Dallas Cowboys would be an accident. It'd be a nice to have. What Jerry Jones cares about is that people talk about him. They get TV ratings. They're on in prime time, and he can charge a lot at the stadium. That's it. That's all he cares about. If they happen to win the Super Bowl, okay. So until the Cowboys get serious, I'm not going to take them seriously. 49ers are going to stomp the Cowboys after losing to the Chiefs. And I have them going into the bye with 2 losses. So that would be 6-2. You have them going into the bye with 1 loss at 7-1.
Yep. Now the second half of the schedule gets a bit harder.
Yes, it does. In the second half of the schedule, the 49ers cross the Mississippi River 4 times. They don't cross the Mississippi at all in the first half of the schedule. So they're going to start to put in the travel time. They're going to start to play some tougher games.
The 49ers have 9 games against playoff teams from last year. It's tied for the second most in the league. Only the Ravens have to play more playoff teams at 10. But the Bengals, 49ers, and Cowboys each have to play 9 playoff teams from last year.
Yeah, which is great for the Ravens, but the Ravens have the most rest differential between them and their opponents. The Ravens have the most of the league. The 49ers have the worst. 49ers have negative 22 rest differential. So they have 22 fewer days of rest than their opponents this year, which is actually up from the negative 20 days of rest they had last year. So just when you thought the league couldn't stick it to the Niners anymore, they did.
You wonder if they even consider that, right? When they're going through it, they're like, do they consider these rest days? Do they consider what they did to them last year, right? Like, I do love this comment if you want to read it.
And The Rock says, Michelle doesn't have to buy a drink in any 49ers bar for what she did to that Packers guy.
If that's true, I'll be in San Francisco tomorrow. Let's go.
Well played. Oh, how about this? Cheers, Michelle. High Stats. At least you're not 11. Wow. Okay.
This is now my new favorite guy. I love it.
Okay, sorry. Continue your thought. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I don't even know what I was saying. I was saying like the people who are making the schedules, do they even consider what they went through last year? Like, oh, we gave them a bad disadvantage last year with rest. We should probably fix that this year, make it more fair. But clearly they don't even consider that. They're just like, nah, whatever happens, happens.
No, they don't. Officially, they're on record as not considering it because I saw a comment from Mike North, who is like the NFL's scheduling guru. He was on a conference call, apparently. I'm trying to find the actual tweet from Josh Dubow. He tweeted it out. Yes, NFL schedule guru Mike North downplayed the rest disparity, saying the 49ers, Chiefs, Rams, Eagles, and others that had rest disparity still made the playoffs. Quote, we are solving for the things that are truly unfair and maybe not spending too much time worrying about the things that maybe we shouldn't be. And I got to tell you, Michelle, we screwed you, but you overcame it. That's not a good policy. Like that doesn't.
Does anyone know who creates the schedule? Do we have any idea who this group of people, like where do they come from? Who are they? Because this is what I'm saying. There is a very little chance that they work for the NFL, right? Or they do this, and they didn't grow up as an NFL fan of some team. And you can say, I have no bias. I'm not doing anything, but you do. Like if you're making the schedule for your team, there is something back there where you're like, I'm not going to put them here. Like I'm not going to do this to them. I'm not like, that would happen. If I ever had to make the schedule, I'm like, no, I promise not to be biased against my favorite teams. Like, but I definitely would be. Like you definitely would be. So I'm wondering how you get this job.
Even if it's not a conscious thing at the time, right? Maybe
Yeah.
you make the whole schedule with the best of intentions, and then you step back and you look at it and you're like, the 49ers have 22 fewer days of rest than their opponents. And you're like, oh, well, the schedule's done. I did my best. It wasn't intentional, but am I going to try to work to fix it? No. I hated that quote. Like, oh, well, you made the playoffs anyway. That doesn't mean you didn't put us behind the 8 ball. Like, that doesn't mean that you didn't negatively affect the team. And I saw Rich Madrid and other people say, oh, this doesn't matter. It's overblown. It matters. As long as these games are played by human beings, it matters. And it matters to me.
I mean, it definitely matters, right? Just because the 49ers are so good that they're still going to win anyways. Like they're still going to win. That's not the point. Like that's not the point. It's unfair. It's just unfair.
Here's the nicest comment anyone said about me in the chat. Jason D, quote, I don't hate Statsy.
That's nice.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it. Okay. Good news for the 49ers coming out of the bye. They play in Florida. Last time that happened, Michelle, was last year against the Jags, also in week 10. And the 49ers played maybe their best game of the year, smashing the Jaguars into the carpet and leaving a greasy stain. Are they going to do the same to the Buccaneers?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Right? I mean, yeah. Again, I love Baker Mayfield, but your quarterback's Baker Mayfield and you're going against the 49ers. Like when you're going against that good of a team, you need a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield to win. Like, yeah, they'll get this one.
Yeah. Sorry, Tampa Bay. I like Baker too. I like his personality. But you're not on that level. Like Brock Purdy kicked the hell out of the Buccaneers with Tom Brady in his first ever start. He's not losing to Baker Mayfield off of a bye week. Hard pass, no and no. So that takes us to week 11. This is the second game against Seattle. This one is in Levi's, late window, 1:05 p.m. Pacific time. Do you have the Niners sweeping the Seahawks?
Yep, I do. Easy peasy. Geno Smith's still the quarterback, or Sam Howell at this point. Who knows? But either one, we're good.
Yeah, I saw a report. It was like, Geno Smith may not be the starter there. It's like, oh, okay. Play that shuffle. I mean, he
will be the starter there to start the season, but if they start losing, I would imagine they see what they have in Sam Howell before they have to know what they're doing in the draft. I mean, it's going to still be, we have to draft a guy, but I expect them to give Sam Howell a shot at some point this season.
I'm a little nervous because Mike Macdonald is there and we don't know what he's going to do. He seems to be a much better defensive strategist than Pete Carroll was, or at least Kyle Shanahan had figured out Pete Carroll. And obviously, we saw what Mike Macdonald's Ravens did to the 49ers on Christmas.
It is interesting, though, because like the Ravens defense wasn't all that good until they traded for Roquan Smith. So like that was in the middle of the year 2 years ago. And that's kind of when it changed for them. So, but I don't think he has the pieces in Seattle that he does with the Ravens. It's not just going to be, oh, you were such a good coach here, you're going to change this defense. Like you need good players too. And if you don't have all the pieces that they had with the Ravens, like it's not just going to be the same thing.
That's fair. I like known opponents like the Rams. I know what I'm getting. Kyle knows what he's getting. It's McVay. He's been there forever. This is a new coach, so we don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but they should still win. As I said, Geno Smith is the quarterback, so I'm still going to predict the 49ers win there. Okay, continuing right along. This is the trouble spot, Michelle. Week 12 on the road, late in November against the Packers at Lambeau Field.
So what we were talking about last week, this is why the schedule release is important, right? Because we're saying we hope they play the Packers and the Bills because it's an away game earlier on in the year and they get them right at the time where it's going to be really, really cold here. Maybe the Packers is like just like a week, like an okay time where it shouldn't be like negative degrees, which is good. But they are going to lose one of these two games and it's figuring out which one, right? If they're either going to lose at the Packers or at the Bills. And I haven't decided. I feel like I'm going to decide right now because I keep going back and forth. I think they're going to beat the Packers and then lose to the Bills.
beat the Packers and lose to the Bills. Okay, I'm writing this down now. I want to keep track of this. I think that they are going to.
This is that's a hard back-to-back game, man. Like that's hard.
I do like that these are a little late. I want one of these to be a cold weather game, Michelle,
Well,
because
that Bills one's also at night. Like no
right.
matter what, no matter even if it's a nice day up in central New York, they're not central, I guess. Whatever they are. I'm Syracuse is central where I'm from. Buffalo, upstate New York. But at the same time, even if it's a nice game at 8:20 at night, it's going to be cold. It's going to be below 30 degrees, probably in the 20s. It's going to be cold. And the Bills are just really stinking good at home, too. Like Josh Allen's so good. That's why I have them losing. I trust the 49ers to be able to handle the Packers offense and defense better than the Bills.
I think the 49ers will get up for the Packers game. It's a weird like feeling. I don't understand it that a lot of people are like, well, the 49ers should have lost that game against the Packers, which I don't understand at all. I have no idea why
People are
people
so
think
high in the Packers. Like they're calling them Super Bowl contenders. I don't know what happened in people's minds, what they saw at the end of last year, but people are really high in the Packers. I mean, their schedule is absurdly easy. Like they are getting into the playoffs 100%. I've never seen an easier schedule in my life. Like they could win 13 games this year, but like I'm not going to be worried about playing them in the regular season or the playoffs.
So I will predict a win against the Packers and a loss against the Bills. I think that I agree with you. They're going to lose one of those two. I just think that in Buffalo at night, Josh Allen is really good. I know people like to dump on him. He's friggin' amazing. I've seen him torch this defense before.
Stats,
So
we have one difference. You
I
needed
know.
that's it. And it came in week one. So that's all everything's going to come down to week one of the year. But
Well, we'll see how the rest of it plays out. But
okay.
I want one of these games to be cold because we don't know what Brock Purdy is like in the cold. We've never seen it. I've seen him in the rain multiple times. I know it's not good.
How cold was it in Cleveland last year when they lost? Was it too early to be cold?
It was
Cleveland
super
gets cold pretty early.
it was early in the year in Cleveland. I don't remember it being like, I'm talking like you're saying, like frigid temperatures. Cleveland was October 15th last year. So that's nothing. This is December in Buffalo at night. Let it be cold. Hell, let it snow. I just want to know, like, does Brock have a problem in all weather games? Is it just rain? Is it rain and cold? Is it snow? We don't know. We've never seen it.
Yeah. No,
By the
I
way,
mean, but didn't he play in the cold in college?
I don't know. Honestly, and I said that too. I have no idea. And like, is it like, was it cold or was it like cold, cold? You know, I want like freeze, like when the Niners went into Lambeau a couple years ago, and that was like ridiculous, and it was snowing, and they blocked the punt, and Talanoa Hufanga returned to, yeah, give me that kind of cold. Just talking about it gets me excited.
That game, honestly, I wish it wasn't a Sunday night game. I wish it was Thursday or Monday because I would have loved to go to Buffalo for that game. You could have met me there. That would have been great. I don't know if I could I don't know if I could pull a Sunday night game, but that would be a fun game to go to. I will say Bills fans are crazy. I might be a little nervous about wearing 49ers gear there,
Mhm.
but I do love going to Bills games. I used to go as a Bills fan back in the day when I dated a Bills fan, but great games. They're really fun there.
Hold on. Hold everything. Did you see how she just like slipped that in there real quick and didn't think I was gonna talk about it? For the record, at one point when you were dating, so I assume this is, when you were over the age of 15,
Yeah.
you were a Bills fan.
Yes, a very big Bills fan because my boyfriend was one. I dated a guy for 5 years from the ages of 17 to 22. But yeah, he grew up a Bills fan. So I mean, I was still a Steelers fan first. It's kind of like how I am now with Steelers 49ers. I was Steelers fans
Oh,
first, but I would go. He had season tickets to, well, his dad had season tickets to the Bills. So we'd go, and it was a blast. They weren't great during this time, but they did beat Tom Brady. It was Tom Brady threw 4 interceptions in one game we were at. One of the best games I've ever been to. So much
stop
fun.
clouding the issue. The issue is Michelle is claiming to be a Steelers fan, then claiming to be a Bills fan, then claiming to go back to the Steelers.
I've
But
always had a second favorite team. I like having 2 teams. But always, I used to be a really big Browns fan when I lived in Cleveland.
What?
Yeah, I used to. That's why my dog's name is Baker. I love the Browns when I lived there. Again, Steelers always number 1, but I rooted for the Browns like crazy until until they got good, and then I was annoyed by them.
You can't root for a team in the same division as the team you claim
They
to be your
sucked.
favorite.
When I lived in Cleveland, they were absolutely garbage. There was no fear of them doing anything to kick them out. Once they got good, it was already once I left Cleveland. I stopped rooting for them. They annoyed me.
J. Cruz 49ers. Stop talking, Michelle. You're losing points here. Let's move on. Keep going. All of the compliments are going to start coming in for me now. You're losing respect in the chat.
I'm sorry. The Steelers has always been my number one. It's the only team where I'm like freaking screaming at the TV, even though the 49ers are becoming that. And I'm starting to cry at 49ers losses in the playoffs. I don't know what you guys have done to me. But I've always had that second team that I root for.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Adam
it's the 49ers.
Says, Brock did play in the cold in Iowa. I've gone to every home ISU game for decades. How cold, Adam? I want to know. Like scary cold? Like human beings shouldn't be out in the cold? And I'm not saying he hasn't. I'm saying I don't know. I'm genuinely asking. What? Heineman says, Mariners fan, LOL. That's a different sport, and they're still my team. And I don't live in San Francisco or Seattle, so I don't care that the Niners are rivals with the Seahawks. That's not even close to the same thing, Heineman. Come on. You're better than that, Twitch fam. Usually the Twitch comments are good. That one wasn't good. Okay. So we have a victory at Green Bay, a loss in Buffalo. Then we get to week 14, back home, back in the afternoon window against the Chicago Bears.
What did you just say?
Bears. Do you not know that skit from Saturday Night Live?
The Bears, but isn't it the Bears?
Bears.
Yeah. Okay. You just didn't say duh, so it doesn't really work. I will say if this game was in Chicago, I would have a little bit more hesitancy to give this a win for the 49ers. But with it being at 49ers, like I do expect the Bears to be a possible playoff team this year. They have a really solid roster and the weapons that Caleb Williams has. I mean, I cannot think of a rookie quarterback coming into a better situation than him. They have just a really solid roster all the way around. So as long as Caleb Williams doesn't fall flat on his face, I do think they're going to be a pretty solid team overall. But I still think a rookie coming into San Francisco, playing against a really, really good defense, I think that's going to be too much for him to overcome. So I'm giving that a win for the 49ers.
I'm actually giving a win to the Bears in this game.
Okay.
Again, this is like you said, assuming Caleb Williams is in a complete disaster, but I just don't like where this game falls in the schedule. You've got a divisional game in week 11, a big rematch against Green Bay, a big game against Buffalo. You've got the Rams game in week 15, the week after, which could be an important game for the division. I don't like that the Bears game falls right in this little window. And like you said, the Bears defense is very good. Their roster is solid. The 49ers always seem to have like one of those games a year where they lose to somebody that they have no business losing to.
Yep.
I think this is the game. So I'm actually going to give the Bears a win in this game. This is the second difference on our schedule.
Yeah, again, if this was at Chicago, this would be the game. I'd say this is the game that they have no business losing to, but it's on the road, and I think they would just lose it. But at home, I'm not worried about it.
Adam Walker says Brock played in 15 degrees with wind, which would probably be the coldest. How did he perform in the game?
Yeah, I'll go check those out after the show. Maybe I'll bring him next week.
There we go.
Or tweet it out.
I appreciate that. Okay, so after the Bears game, then it's the real home game against the Rams. This is Thursday Night Football, so 2 division games on Thursday Night Football for the 49ers. And it's against Sean McVay and company. Do you have the 49ers continuing their dominance against the Rams? You're going to give LA a split?
Nope. Given a win to the 49ers. So I have them only losing one game still this whole year. I just, who even knows if Matthew Stafford makes it this long throughout the year? I mean, he's been dealing with injuries. He's getting older. Again, I know, Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams are so good. But again, Kyron Williams also got banged up last year. He's a smaller dude. Who knows how healthy he is at this point. I'm giving it to the 49ers.
I know a lot of people like the Rams draft. They drafted the 2 teammates on the defensive line, which I know in the Rams' mind, according to Jordan Rodriguez, who did like this awesome deep dive on how the Rams went about their scouting and stuff. The Rams really valued that. We'll see how that all turns out. I think the 49ers are going to win that game. I will give them a W in that spot as well, especially if the 49ers have lost to the Bears the week before. I feel they'll be extra motivated. So I will give them the win in that one against the Rams. Week 16, right before Christmas, December 22nd, Niners fly cross country they get the extended the mini bye week. They go to Miami to take on Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins.
So this one worked out for us, right? Last week we were saying we hoped the Bills Packers were earlier. We hoped the Dolphins would later. Now the Packers Bills came later than we would have maybe hoped for the weather, but this is a perfect time to play in Miami. It should be perfect 70-degree weather. Like, you're not going to be dying on the sideline where they put the visitors in the sun, right? It might still be hot. You're still sitting in the sun in 75-degree weather, but it's not going to be like that 100+ degrees. Again, this is going to be a tough game, probably high scoring, but the last time we saw these two, we were hyping it up, right? And the 49ers just kicked them right in the mouth. I think it's a win. I think it's a win.
Kicked them right in the mouth when Jimmy Garoppolo went down and Brock Purdy came in the middle of the game as a rookie with no snaps in training camp.
And the very first play, it was wasn't it the very first play the Dolphins scored the touchdown?
Yep. Long touchdown. It was like a 70-yard touchdown. Did you see that Tua is not showing up for anything? Because he wants his new
get
deal.
it. Yeah. I mean, if they're going to pay Jared Goff like that, you want your money. I mean, come on.
Yeah, the Dolphins offense is good. They're scary fast. I mean, their team is so ridiculously crazy fast. But the 49ers have had a lot of speed this offseason, too. I think San Francisco is going to win. You know, I can't believe I'm doing this. Levin and I did this yesterday, and I was like, I don't know, maybe 12-5. That sounds pretty good. Right now, I've got them with 4 losses. You have them with 2.
I have them with 1.
2. Chiefs.
Oh, I do have them with 2 because I have them losing to the Bills. Okay, I have them with 2 losses.
2 games left. The 49ers' final primetime game of the regular season as it stands right now. NFC Championship game rematch. It is home. It is Monday Night Football. It is the Detroit Lions in what will be one of 3 outdoor games for the Lions all year.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was about to give the Lions a win here because I do think the Lions are a really, really good team. I think they're going to remember last year. But Jared Goff not at home is not the same player as Jared Goff outdoors. Man, but it is like San Francisco should be good weather. So it shouldn't be that big of a deal. I'm going to give the Lions a win here.
Whoa, boy. This is another game that could have big seeding implications for San Francisco.
I know. And if it is a game for the number 1 seed, I do think the 49ers would pull it through. But at this point, I have them with 2 losses. So unless the Lions also only had 2 losses, or I don't think they're going to be that dominant this year. I think they're a really good team, but I think at this point, the 49ers pretty much have the number 1 seed closed up, all but closed up. And they end up losing this game, but it's really no big deal. They have 3 losses. They'll be fine.
Yeah, all right. I'll give the 49ers a loss. Oh, man.
Why? You don't have to just copy what I'm doing.
I'm not copying you. I'm trying to factor in my predictions from yesterday as well. Do you have them winning in Week 18 against the Cardinals on the road?
They're probably sitting everybody, but also the Cardinals probably aren't really playing for anything either because I don't expect them to be a playoff team. So, who's the backup quarterback right now for the 49ers? Why am I blanking?
Dobbs.
Yeah, against the Cardinals. This is such a toss up because I really do think they'd be resting everybody. I'll just give it to the 49ers because I want them to go 6-0 against the division again. So that's going to happen. I'm going to call it. Wait, no, they lost to the Rams last year.
In Week 18, they did lose.
Brock Purdy has never lost to them. Okay.
Right. Yeah, Sam Darnold stinks.
But Josh Dobbs might be better than Sam Darnold. So I'm going to go with the 49ers winning.
So you have 3. You have the Niners going
14-3, baby. Yep.
Woo! Which would be much better than their record last year.
Their record last year, well, I mean, they still had a great record last year.
Yeah, 14-3 is incredible.
I know.
I have them going 12-5, matching last year's record. So there's the difference, Michelle. It's clear. We're not going to get.
I really wanted to give them 17-0, but I couldn't do it with the Chiefs on there, and then also that back-to-back Packers Bills. That's a hard stretch to say they're going to be able to get both of those wins. But yeah, I think this is going to be one of the best years we've ever seen of 49ers football.
Wow, Niners are the only team that's favored in every single game. Think about that. Not the Chiefs.
They're favored
every single game.
Wow.
49ers are favored. Now
that's home. What is their, is it like -1?
The Chiefs game is at home. Yeah, I'm sure I haven't looked. I can get it up really quickly, but if they were on the road, there's no way they would be favored in Arrowhead. Honestly, I don't think they should be favored in that game at all, but they are.
Nick Eller asked, "You get one win to pick for the year. Is it the Chiefs?" I'm so petty that if I got one win to pick for the year, it's at the Packers because I do not want to hear from those Packers fans. I don't like I don't want to hear on Twitter, and I will get it, right? Like if the Packers
Oh
end up
yeah.
being the 49ers, I'm going to get it all over the place. I deserve it, whatever. Like it's going to happen. But that's the one game I'd pick the 49ers to win at the Packers.
If I had to pick in the regular season, obviously, because we would all
Yeah.
pick the Super Bowl if not. It's weird that I don't care that much.
You got to pick one. If you got to pick one game that they win, and I don't think it necessarily should be the Chiefs because it's an AFC team. Like that doesn't have a very big impact on
Yeah,
the year.
that's the thing. It's like they're tough
And
games.
also, I don't want to beat the Chiefs in the regular season and then say you face them again in the Super Bowl and you're like, man, we already beat them this year. Like Patrick Mahomes doesn't lose twice to the same team in 1 year.
That guy, man. All their tough games, Buffalo, Kansas City, AFC teams, the Jets. The only NFC team I think I have the 49ers losing to is, I got to double check this. I think it might be the Bears, which is crazy.
And you had them losing to the Lions.
Oh, and the Lions. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so those two. That's pretty good for NFC tiebreakers. You know, the scars of my youth, Michelle, I might pick the Cowboys just because, look, they beat the Niners in two straight NFC championship games. Those are potential Super Bowl years, Super Bowl teams that I did not get to see. So that hurts a lot. And then not only that, but the 49ers win the Super Bowl in 1994. And then the next year, the Cowboys win the Super Bowl again. The 49ers don't even get to the NFC title game. Cowboys win the Super Bowl again. So it really made that 94 loss feel kind of fluky. So I kind of might pick the Cowboys just because they hurt me when I was young and I'm still not totally healed.
Yeah. It's funny. I feel like you don't even have to pick them because it's just going to happen. You know, like it's almost like a waste of a pick because you know they're going to beat them anyways.
Fair.
Am I getting too cocky?
No, they didn't do anything. By the way, Niners -2 in that Chiefs game.
Okay.
The Cowboys didn't do anything to improve. Literally nothing. They signed Michael Kendricks away from the 49ers. That was it.
Yeah.
They brought back Ezekiel Elliott. Like what? Now I think they drafted a couple of good offensive linemen, which yay for you, but
no, they took Tyler Guyton, the one guy that we were like, please 49ers don't do it. Remember, that's the one guy we did not want them to take at all. I did not want the Steelers to take him. That's who they took. Doesn't mean he can't be good. We've been plenty wrong about prospects before, but I mean, the guy that they're leaning on to start right away at tackle has no experience like in college and also was pretty bad with the experience he did have, or inconsistent, I should say, not bad. Yeah, no, I'm not. The Cowboys didn't. I just can't believe that Jerry Jones went into the offseason saying we're going all the way in. We are putting all of our chips in, and then they signed one guy through like the first month of free agency. It was crazy.
Jerry Jones trying to pull the wool over people's eyes. When did he say we were all in? Oh, that's right. When people were renewing season tickets. Interesting. Okay. So all right. We know the records. You have 14-3. I have 12-5. What are the stakes?
Well, last year we didn't figure out the stakes for a pretty long time. So I feel like we'll just have to figure it out. But we do have to figure it out before the season starts because like the Jets game is going to be a pretty big part of our stakes. So we're going to have to figure it out before week 1.
Oh,
I heard you and Levin have a bet with the chip. I will never do something with heat. I'm not ruining myself.
yeah. We're doing the
I have too many stomach issues. I'm not doing that.
The Reaper Pepper chip based on the Brandon Ayuk's contract extension and what those numbers actually look like. I have eaten that chip before. I should post the video up. Actually, I still have the video of me dying after I ate this chip. It was horrible.
I don't know why anybody would do that.
I'm a glutton for punishment. I would rather do the chip than the mayonnaise. Honestly,
no, you would not. The mayonnaise is over and you feel it for 30 seconds and then you drink some drinks and you're fine. The chip stays in you your entire day. It ruins your life.
It ruins your whole day. You get flop sweats, your stomach. You don't know if you're going to poop or throw up or maybe both at the same time. It is brutal. But just the thought of the mayonnaise, Michelle, I can't even, you scarred me, man. That was a horrible thing that you made me do.
I would love to be able to like get Sam Darnold on in an interview and the person who lost had to interview him and say all the nicest things to him. But that wouldn't be possible, but it would be hilarious.
Nope. One of my finest moments of Super Bowl week was when Levin got me on media day and said, "Look, there's Sam Darnold. Do you want to talk to him?" And I said, "No." And we didn't even, no one was, he was all alone. Like he was just standing around on media night. You could have walked up to him, asked him any question you want. And I was just like, I have nothing to say to this man. And the fact that I've trashed him all year, I'm not going to like go up to him and try to make nice too. I wasn't going to do that anyway. So I'll never forget that though.
We'll think of something. We'll think of something fun.
Zero regret. I'm going to rip off the name tag on the jersey and I'm going to make it a Pearsall jersey, Michelle.
Is that his number?
Yeah. Pearsall is 14. So I'm just going to rip off the Darnold nameplate and I will it'll make it a Pearsall jersey.
Did we say that's allowed? Hey, you're supposed to still be wearing it. You're supposed to wear it every Friday.
Said that. It's not the Friday uniform.
Just buy a Pearsall jersey. Jeez.
You know what I can do if you want? I can take down the Kittle jersey and put up the Darnold jersey on Fridays. How about that?
That'd be great. That's what I think you should do.
There we go.
I think if you lose this year, you might have to get a Darnold tattoo right here.
God, if he's in as a quarterback, I will be so giddy going into that Vikings.
What if Sam Darnold beat the 49ers in week 2?
Not possible.
Would you just quit watching the NFL?
No, it's not possible. He would turn the ball over too many times. He couldn't even do it against the Rams, Michelle. They're driving down to try to win that game at the end of the game, and he fumbles it like nobody even hits him. He's just running, and he fumbles the ball. He can't help himself. He's a turnover waiting to happen.
Can we talk about, before we end this, how mean the NFL schedulers were to the Steelers, to my Steelers? The meanest of all time.
Sure, we can talk about it. I saw a couple notes that the Steelers' end of the year is pretty brutal. Are you sure you want to talk about the Steelers, or do you want to talk about the Browns, or do you want to talk about the Bills?
Listen, someone brought up that they lived in Rochester, so they root for the Bills too. I went to school in Rochester. It's about 20 minutes from Buffalo.
So
right?
what?
I grew up in Syracuse, New York, which is 2 hours from Buffalo. It's okay if I root for them. I lived in Cleveland. It was, you know what's weird about Cleveland is if you live in downtown Cleveland and you want to watch a football game and you go out to the bar, they only play Browns games on every single TV. You cannot watch a game. You cannot choose you cannot ask them to put on a different game. It will be only Browns. So I had a really hard time watching games when I lived there because I didn't work for the NFL yet. So I didn't have that access.
I see.
And then when all your friends are Browns fans and you go out tailgating before the games, you didn't go to the games, so go out tailgating. It's hard not to root for them. And when you're out in it, and every time they scored a touchdown, which at this time was not very often, but there was a song that played and everyone would jump up and down and sing OHIO. It was so much fun. It was just a blast. It's a great city. It really is. Cleveland's a really fun city.
I don't care.
It gets a bad rap. Now, anyways, Steelers end of the season. They don't even play a divisional game until week 11. So
absurd.
All 6 of their divisional games are from weeks 11 through 18. They have the Ravens, the Browns, the Bengals, the Browns, the Eagles, at Ravens, Chiefs, and Bengals. I didn't skip a game. Like those are and then also what they did to the Steelers, having them play on Wednesday on Christmas against the Chiefs. So I get to watch my favorite team get absolutely demolished on Christmas Day.
You know what that's like.
And I get to work it, most likely. I have to work it right about the Chiefs destroying my favorite team on Christmas. Thank you, NFL. But before that, they play the Ravens at Baltimore on Saturday. That's the game before the Wednesday night Chiefs game. Like, you're going to put the Steelers on a Wednesday and you say, you know what, you're going to face the team that you always like play the toughest against. This is going to be the toughest matchup because it always is. Everyone always gets hurt during it. They have to play on a Saturday and come around and play the Chiefs on Wednesday. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
That is wild, man. Mike Tomlin ain't going to have a winning record this year.
I mean, they're going to have to get off to a really hot start. Their first half of the season is definitely like they should have a really good record if they're an okay team. But my goodness.
That is wild, man. I know we've been talking about the 49ers schedule and the things that are unfair, but I know the Steelers, 6 of the Steelers' last 8 games are division games, and the same is true with the Bears. Caleb Williams is not going to play a division game until the end of the year, which I think is probably better for him. But that is a bad look by the NFL. No team should have that many division games that close together. Like, I get it. The schedule is really hard, but that should be a deal breaker. Like, you just can't do that. It's just not good.
It shouldn't even be allowed to have Ravens, Chiefs, and Bengals the last 3 games.
Wow.
Like, oh,
is Russ
and then at Baltimore, at Philly? Like, come on.
Don't worry, Philly will be a mess by then. They'll be in their death spiral. So that'll probably be.
I will say, luckily, everyone in the Steelers division super close, like location, right? So it's not too much travel at the end of the year because even, I mean, Philadelphia outside of the division, I mean, that's even a 4-hour drive for them because in the same state. So it's not a lot of travel in the second half of the year. It's just actually throughout pretty much the whole year, it's not too much travel. Just the opponents, brutal.
49ers have the 5th most travel miles this year. They're just about 25,000, which is the same number of miles it takes to circle the planet at the equator. So, yay. And they're having less rest than the rest of the team. So, yippee for us.
49ers are always going to be up there, though, probably in travel because of where they're located.
A huge chunk of that is just obviously where they are located. But that's going to do it for us. Again, Michelle's final record, 14-3. My final record, 12-5. I hope you're right, Michelle. I would much rather be 14-3. We will see. We'll establish the terms.
Mute yourself?
What? Okay.
I can't hear you.
Oh.
Okay, now I can.
We will establish the terms of the bet. We'll figure it out at some point. Obviously, we have a lot of time, but we'll establish that and we will pay up whatever it is. If you've got an idea, leave us a review on Apple Pods. Tell us your idea. We'll read it on the show. We're open to ideas. Maybe we can get Michelle to shave her head. That would be fantastic.
Never happening.
Maybe I'm gonna keep pushing for that. I'll shave my head too. I'm willing to look like a giant egg, Michelle.
You could shave your head. I'm not shaving my head.
It grows back. You're young. It's gonna grow back. If I do it, it might not come back.
The woman's hair takes a long time to grow back.
Oh, come on. To that length, yes.
My wife heard you and she said, absolutely not.
Oh, Kate, live a little. Come on.
Not happening.
Not like I'm asking you to get a tattoo. It's hair.
I would rather get a tattoo than shave my head.
Would you dye your hair?
No.
No?
No.
I would dye my hair, whatever color you wanted.
Dyeing, well, if it's like the dye only stays for like a week, I guess, like that kind of dye.
You're no fun at all.
I'm not going to go get highlights. Those are expensive as hell. And no, then it stays in your hair forever.
Hey, I had to buy a Sam Darnold jersey, all right?
That was easy. I took it easy on you.
Had a wig. There you go. I like that. How about Jay Cruz says shave an eyebrow?
Guys, no.
One? Is that worse than both?
Oh, my Lord.
You're not on camera for NFL Network. Shave an eyebrow. Come on.
No. We'll come up with something.
Oh,
not that.
Fine. See, if we lived closer and I lost and had to shave my head, we could give you the clippers and you could be the one that actually shaves it. That would be good. See what
maybe. Well, it's always fun to have to do something embarrassing, so we can do that too. But I think you have to send me some champagne for mimosas on Fridays if I win. That at least has to be a part of it.
Ooh, that's not bad. That is pretty good. I like where your head's at. That is not bad, especially it's something that only costs.
And then also, not only that, but you have to start having mimosas with me every Friday.
Well,
for
that's
like
a
month or something.
That's a win for me, really.
Well, if it's a win for you, drink it with me. Even though I'm not even having one today, but I have to get back on the mimosa train.
Yeah, 0 for 2. Oscar says wax your nostrils.
I probably could use that anyway, so I probably should do it.
You need hair in your nose. What are people doing getting rid of all this hair? Like it's not there for no reason. It's there to help stop the germs from getting into your body.
No, that's good to know.
Did you think it was just there for no reason?
I don't know. I just saw it's hair. Hair is hair. I don't know. I didn't think it through all this much.
Jay Cruz says Stats has to eat tamales if he loses. Honestly, you should eat one anyway. People are obsessed with me eating a tamale. It hasn't happened. It's not going to happen. I have no desire to eat. Well, I'd be willing to do it for the sake of the bet, but other than that, they don't.
You're
look
just being a weirdo at this point. Just eat.
They don't
tamale.
look good to me. They just don't look appetizing.
No, they don't look appetizing. They look weird, but they're absolutely delicious. There's so many things like that in this world.
Yeah.
Just eat a tamale, dude. They're delicious. They're absolutely like there's nothing gross about them. There's nothing even sketchy in them. It's meat with carbs. Or whatever. I don't even know what the outside is. Corn something. I don't know.
Corn something.
I don't even know. It's delicious. We didn't mention though that going back to the schedule, the 49ers are facing all three of their playoffs opponents from last year with the Packers, Lions, and Chiefs. So a lot of like revenge games.
The 49ers beat all the NFC playoff teams last year too. Like they're clearly the class of the NFC. That is why they have the best odds to get back to the Super Bowl. Their odds, I think they were plus 250 to get back to the Super Bowl. The Lions were the next closest at plus 550. that tells you the difference, like how much better the Sharks think the Niners are than everybody else in the NFC.
If you told me the 49ers didn't make the Super Bowl right now, I would assume that Brock Purdy got injured during the year.
Let's not even put that out into the universe, Michelle. Come
No,
on.
I know, but that's like the only way I see this. I mean, I know it's really hard to get back to the Super Bowl, and like they could have lost last year against the Lions. They could have lost. Like I get it, but at the same time, I just think you could just snap right now to February, and they're sitting there in the Super Bowl. I don't know if they'll win it. We'll have to see who they're playing. If it's Patrick Mahomes again, who freaking knows? But like I can't picture anyone else in the NFC making the Super Bowl. Not scared of any other NFC team.
You know what? A lot of teams that played the Patriots back in the day said the same thing. Well, they should have lost. Yeah, but they didn't because they were really good. And
I
that's
wonder what, like, if the 49ers played in the AFC, how much different we would think, because there's so many different teams that just have that potential, right? That are you're a little bit nervous of it because of all the good quarterbacks. I just wonder what that would feel like. It sucks as a Steelers fan, I'll say that, but the Steelers aren't the 49ers with their team. So I just wonder if the 49ers would still be at the top of everyone's like rankings for the AFC.
even last year, look at their losses, right? Baltimore, AFC, loss. Cleveland, AFC, loss. Cincinnati, AFC, loss. I mean, 3 of the 4 game competitive games that they lost, because I'm not
They
counting.
lost 3 games to the AFC North last year. They destroyed the Steelers, so.
Right. They lost to Cleveland. They lost to Cincinnati. They lost to Baltimore.
Well, thanks 49ers for no help. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, but maybe don't have us as like 6 of your 8 teams that you root for, and that'll help you out a little bit. That's gonna do
I only root for 2 teams now, and Josh Allen.
For this edition of the show. Please rate, review, and follow the Gold Standard Podcast Network. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click the bell so you get notified every single time we go live, which is every single weekday for you. Michelle, no kickball for you tonight, if I remember correctly, right?
Nope, because the playoffs are over. But I do have mud volleyball tomorrow morning. It's a tournament. Starts at 8:30 in the morning and it goes all day. You get into this pit of water. And at first it's not too dirty, right? But there's a bunch of like mud at the bottom. So it all starts to come in and you're just playing in mud. You have to tape your shoes to your body because they'll fall off. So you have to use duct tape and tape them on. You have to wear clothes that you're just going to throw away. Shoes you're just going to throw away. Like I'm going to Walmart here in a second to buy stuff. And you play volleyball. You have a couple extra people than normal volleyball because like you can barely move. But it's so much fun. But yeah, doing a mud volleyball tournament tomorrow.
What the hell is your life?
It's a really fun time. I did it last year. It's at like a strawberry festival. I don't know. So they also have like the strawberry cheesecake or strawberry shortcake. It's like the biggest in the world. They say like it's just like huge. They just make it, but you can go in and get it. Delicious.
I want a picture post mud volleyball of you and Kate. Like,
okay.
I'm sure you're just going to be.
We have one from last year. It was nasty, but yeah, I'll take one this year.
Oh man. All right. See, that's how I could tell you don't have kids. What are you doing on Friday night? Mud volleyball. You know what I'm doing on Friday? Like watching probably like friggin', I don't know, Moana for the 8 billionth time. That's what I'm doing.
It's tomorrow. So it's Saturday. It starts at 8:30. I'm waking up early for this. Like, look at me.
God. All right. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you on Monday.